I imagine the scene. You've finally found that perfect combination of medications that keeps your Parkinson's symptoms under control. You're having a good day. The tremors are milder, the stiffness is less intense, and you can move more freely. So, you decide to take advantage of this rare moment of well-being to do something simple that many consider banal, like a quiet lunch with family or coffee with friends. During the meal, you eat a simple banana, or perhaps a generous portion of avocado, and within an hour, you feel that terrible feeling returning. Your muscles stiffen, the tremors increase, and the freedom you were experiencing just a short time ago disappears, as if it had never existed. You wonder what happened. Did the medication wear off more quickly than usual? Did you forget to take the correct dose? The answer may be much simpler than you imagine and is directly related to that seemingly harmless fruit you just ate. Many people with Parkinson's have no idea that certain foods can drastically interfere with the absorption of their medications, especially levodopa, the most common treatment for the disease. This interference can cause your symptoms return with full force, even if you are strictly following your medication regimen prescribed by your doctor. As a nutritionist specializing in neurodegenerative diseases, I have seen countless patients completely transform their quality of life simply by adjusting what they eat and when they eat. Today, I will reveal which fruit may be sabotaging your Parkinson's treatment. More importantly, I will show you exactly how to adjust your diet to maximize the effect of your medications, allowing you to have more hours of the day in control of your body and less time fighting symptoms that could have been avoided. What you will learn here is rarely discussed in routine medical appointments, but it could be the key to recovering precious moments in your daily life. Before we begin, I would like to know where you are watching from today. Leave a comment below, and feel free to ask any questions you have about Parkinson's and nutrition. If you or someone you love is facing the daily challenges of Parkinson's and is looking for reliable, science-based information explained in a simple way, the Beyond Parkinson channel was created, especially with you in mind. Here, we regularly share practical strategies, exercises, and tips that have helped hundreds of people recover, both small and large. Independence in your daily life. Click the subscribe button now. It's completely free, so you won't miss any techniques that can make a difference in your quality of life or that of your loved one. Now let's continue with our first strategy that promises to bring significant relief to your symptoms. First, let's talk about bananas, the fruit I mentioned at the beginning of this video. Among the many foods that can interfere with Parkinson's medication, bananas stand out as particularly problematic. But how exactly do bananas affect people with Parkinson's? Let's explore together. The main problem with bananas is related to their high protein content, especially when ripe. Many people are surprised to discover that bananas contain significant protein, approximately 1.1 grams in a medium banana. Furthermore, bananas are rich in a specific amino acid called tyrosine. This amino acid competes directly with levodopa for transporters in the gut and the blood-brain barrier. In simple terms, when you take your Parkinson's medication along with a banana or shortly after eating one, these amino acids in the banana literally block the passage of levodopa into your bloodstream and especially into your brain, where it is most effective. Scientific studies have documented that consuming protein-rich foods like bananas close to medication times can reduce levodopa absorption by up to 80%. Imagine you're only taking 20% of your medication. It's no wonder your symptoms return with such force. A study published in the Journal of Neurology showed that patients who properly separated their protein intake from their medication times experienced an average of 2.5 additional hours of symptom control per day. This potentially represents more than 900 hours per year of life with greater freedom and autonomy. The impact on quality of life is absolutely transformative. I've seen patients who suffered from frequent freezing during the day go entire days without a single episode simply by adjusting the timing of bananas and other protein-rich foods in their diets. How levodopa affects movement in Parkinson's disease. To fully understand why bananas are so problematic, we need to understand how levodopa works. Levodopa is a precursor to dopamine, a crucial neurotransmitter that is in reduced levels in the brains of people with Parkinson's. When levodopa reaches the brain, it is converted to dopamine, helping to restore normal motor function. However, unlike dopamine, levodopa can cross the blood-brain barrier, a protective filter that separates your brain from the bloodstream. But here's the problem. Levodopa uses a specific transport system to cross this barrier. Unfortunately, this same system is also used by amino acids like those found in proteins. When there are too many amino acids in the blood, as happens after eating a banana, they crowd this transport system, leaving little room for levodopa. The result is less medication reaching the brain and, consequently, less control over Parkinson's symptoms. Before we continue with the next method, I want to pause to ask you something important. What time of day do Parkinson's symptoms most affect you or your family member's life? Is it upon waking, when stiffness seems to take over your body? Perhaps during meals, when tremors make every bite a challenge? Or is it at night, when sleep simply won't come? This question isn't just out of curiosity, you know. Many people with Parkinson's feel like no one truly understands the invisible challenges they face daily, and you are not alone on this journey. Share your experience in the comments. You can simply copy and complete this sentence. My biggest challenge with Parkinson's is when I try. Your comment may be exactly the information someone else needs to read today to feel understood and less alone. Furthermore, your comments help us create more specific content for the real difficulties you face. Now let's continue with our second strategy, which can bring significant relief to many of the challenges you share. Now that we understand why bananas can be problematic, let's talk about the second crucial strategy, timing your medication. Many people don't realize that they don't. It's not just what you eat, but when you eat in relation to the timing of your medication that makes all the difference. The golden rule I recommend to my patients is to take levodopa at least 30 minutes before meals or 1 hour after, preferably with a small glass of water or acidic fruit juice like orange or pineapple. But why this is so effective is that when you take levodopa on an empty stomach, there's less competition for absorption in the digestive tract, allowing a significantly larger amount of the medication to enter your bloodstream and eventually reach your brain. Studies show that patients who follow this simple timing strategy can reduce their total medication dose by up to 30% while maintaining the same level of symptom control. This also means fewer long-term side effects. Antonio, one of my 67-year-old patients, was taking 800 millimolars of levodopa daily divided into 5 doses. He still experienced frequent off periods. When we changed the timing of his medications to avoid proximity to meals, especially those containing bananas and other protein-rich foods, he was able to reduce his to 600 millimolars per day in just 4 doses and reported fewer off periods. This small schedule change literally gave him back the ability to attend his daughter's wedding without worrying about his symptoms appearing mid-ceremony. How to implement this strategy in your daily life? Start by keeping a detailed log for a week. Write down exactly when you take your medication and when you eat, especially protein-rich foods. Also, note when your symptoms seem to worsen. After a week, you'll likely notice patterns. Times when the medication seems less effective will often occur after protein-rich meals. Adjust your schedule to ensure that 30-minute window before or 1 hour after meals. It may be helpful to set alarms on your phone as reminders, not only to take the medication, but also to mark when it's safe to eat after taking it. For many of my patients, taking the first dose of the day right after waking up, while still in bed, before even getting up, makes a huge difference in morning stiffness and in the ability to start the day more easily. Keep a glass of water and your medication on your bedside table to facilitate this routine. Now, let's move on to our third and perhaps most surprising strategy, how you can consume bananas and other protein-rich foods without compromising your treatment. Because yes, with proper planning, you don't need to completely eliminate bananas from your diet. The strategy that has worked exceptionally well for my patients is what I call strategic protein distribution. Instead of spreading protein evenly throughout the day, concentrate the majority of your protein intake, including bananas, in a single meal, preferably dinner. Why this works? Levodopa competes with protein for absorption each time you take it. By concentrating your protein in one meal, you allow the other doses of medication throughout the day to be absorbed with maximum efficiency. Many neurologists now recognize that this approach can offer the best balance between adequate nutrition and optimized symptom control. A study conducted at the University of Milan showed that patients who adopted strategic protein distribution experienced a 56% improvement in mobility throughout the day compared to those who consumed protein evenly at all meals. To implement this strategy, start by making your breakfast and lunch meals low-protein diet. Focus on complex carbohydrates like sweet potatoes, brown rice, and vegetables. Save your bananas, meats, dairy, beans, and other protein-rich sources for dinner, when you're likely to be at home, and nighttime symptoms are less likely to interfere with your social activities. Remember, you're not eliminating protein from your diet, just rearranging when you consume it to optimize your treatment. Maria, a 59-year-old patient who adopted this strategy, told me something I've never forgotten. For the first time in 5 years, I could go to the supermarket alone without fear of freezing in the middle of the aisle, all because I organized my proteins more intelligently. She still eats bananas, her favorite snack, but now only as dessert after dinner, a few hours after her last dose of levodopa. But what do you do when you really crave a banana or other protein-rich food during the day? I know it's not always possible to follow any eating plan perfectly, and life should be lived with some pleasures. If you absolutely must have a banana during the day, try to do it as far away from your medication schedule as possible. Ideally, at least 2 hours after taking levodopa, when most of it will have been absorbed. Another alternative is to adjust your levodopa dose on days when you plan to consume protein foods outside of dinner. Some neurologists recommend a small dose increase to compensate for the lower absorption, but this should be discussed with your doctor. Never adjust your medication doses without professional guidance. There are also some supplements that can help. Carbidopa, often combined with levodopa in medications like Sinemet, helps prevent levodopa from being converted to dopamine before it reaches the brain, meaning more of the medication reaches its destination. Ask your doctor if your current medication contains carbidopa and in the appropriate doses. For people with Parkinson's seeking to maintain the effectiveness of their medication, the trio of strategies we discussed today offers a complete approach, identifying and limiting problem foods like bananas at critical times of the day, optimizing the timing of your medication in relation to meals, and strategically rearranging your protein intake throughout the day. Together, these strategies can make a difference. Between spending hours battling debilitating symptoms and regaining the ability to do the activities you love, one final tip I'd like to share. Keep a food diary linked to your symptoms for a few weeks. You'll be surprised to discover personal patterns and perhaps even other specific foods that seem to affect you uniquely. Remember that although bananas are often problematic for people with Parkinson's, each body responds uniquely. Your food diary can reveal valuable information specific to you. If this video brought you any hope or useful information, I'd like to invite you to join our support community here on the channel. Living with Parkinson's presents unique challenges that often only those who experience them truly understand. By subscribing to the Beyond Parkinson's channel, you'll have access to new videos every week with specific techniques for each Parkinson's symptom, from exercises to improve balance to strategies to reduce morning stiffness. Our commitment is to bring you content that truly makes a difference in your daily life, filtered and tested by experts, but explained in simple, straightforward language. Many of our subscribers report that small changes learned here have transformed their independence and confidence. Subscribing is very simple. Just click the subscribe button. Subscribe below this video and then click the bell to be notified when we publish new content. Remember, you are not alone on this journey, and every step counts. We want to follow and support your progress and celebrations. Every small victory matters, and we are here to help you achieve many of them. Thank you for joining us today, and we hope to see you in our next video. Take care of yourself and prepare well for dinner when you are likely at home and nighttime symptoms are less likely to interfere with your social activities. Remember, you are not eliminating protein from your diet, just rearranging when you consume it to optimize your treatment. Maria, a 59-year-old patient who adopted this strategy, told me something I've never forgotten. For the first time in 5 years, I was able to go to the supermarket alone without fear of freezing in the middle of the aisle, all because I organized my proteins more intelligently. She still eats bananas, her favorite snack, but now only as dessert after dinner, a few hours after her last dose of levodopa of the day.